Yeah. So I grew up here, and I remember a lot of the battles that we were having back in the 80s and 90s that it seems like we are still having today. And I don't think there's a replacement for that level of history and just being around, right, in New Hampshire for as long as I have been. What I would say that I have seen is the most pressing issue that we are facing, or sorry, the most pressing economic issue that we are facing in this state is affordable housing, as I mentioned. And what I remember growing up was just the level of optimism and growth that was present in the state. And that was because working families could make a home here. Okay? And I just don't see that anymore. And I do think, as a progressive on the Executive Council, what we do need to be speaking to is progressive values. And frankly, I do think that a lot of our lack of housing right now is due to bipartisan NIMBYism. And what I want to do, and there are good reasons for that in some cases. We don't want to supersede local control that has been given to different communities to plan out their communities, but we also need to encourage them to invest in New Hampshire, and that by delivering the message that New Hampshire will invest back in them. As I mentioned, I think that the primary way that you can do that on the Executive Council is through the 10-year transportation plan, because infrastructure investing, whether you're talking about the North Country, the Upper Valley, Cheshire County, or down in Concord, is such an impediment in order to put in good, affordable housing, dense housing that is actually more environmentally friendly. So I think that history of being here, knowing where we come from, and the time that I have spent out in the district, I left my position just to do this job. So I stepped out of the day-to-day of my company, and I'm spending Mondays down in Keene, Tuesdays in the Upper Valley, Wednesdays in Concord, Thursdays in Lebanon area, Thursdays in that 89 corridor, and then Friday in the North Country, because I want to make sure that I'm talking to everyone that is served by this district.
Thank you. Karen, you need the question for you?
I think I wrote it down, so I think I'm good. Yeah, about how we know the needs and what experiences for the far-flung district. And it's true, we have 81 cities and towns, 4 cities, and 77 towns. So obviously, as a city councilor, I'm very familiar with Lebanon's needs. As county treasurer, I'm also familiar with the needs throughout our county. And so I know certain things, very well. In Lebanon and Hanover, for that matter, where we have more densely populated communities, we have our own full-time dispatch, for example, for police, fire, EMS. In the more rural towns of the districts, that's handled by the county government, and there's a dispatch center at the county that handles the 911 calls for the more rural parts. So I have exposure to that kind of, I'm familiar very much with our own county. Over the years, I've really had the opportunity as well to work on a statewide level. So I became a member, Lebanon is a member of the New Hampshire Municipal Association, which is the association of the League of Cities and Towns for our state. And so I've been a past board member there. When I was mayor in 2008 and 2009, the mayor of Concord at that time, Jim Boulay, longtime mayor, who's supported, also very proud to have in this race, he convened a group of mayors all from around the state, and we would get together on a quarterly basis. And so over the years, I've had a lot of opportunities to really get to know the needs in different parts of our state. And I have spent the last year further getting to know our district, in particular, District 2. I've got 35,000 miles on my car, just from starting from last year. So I've been getting to know it. I've also served on the board of Vital Communities, which many of you know, has been an organization that's looking to create regional solutions. So I know that from housing to childcare, that these are not problems that we can solve individually as any particular city or town. It's going to take cooperation, and I've been a part of that. In fact, that was part of the work that I did when Vital Communities was thinking about its own strategic planning 20 years ago when I served on the board, and have been proud to be a part of that work. I've also served on different boards like the Transportation Advisory Committee for the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission, which has also given me perspective in our region of what smaller towns are facing versus the larger towns. And so I've had, I could go on and on. It's hard to roll 20 years of experience into a concise answer, but I have had a lot of experience over the last 20 years that have given me insight into how different towns are affected by the decisions made in Concord, and that's the perspective that I will be able to bring with me, which makes me ready to go on day one. Great. Oh, and we agreed that we would train